The Heng Hua people first arrived in Singapore over 90 years ago. I am a third-generation Heng Hua.
Mommy,
Yes?
can I ask what is that thing?
Good question. Mama also don't know what's that thing,
Growing up, I never questioned what being Heng Hua really meant. I don't know much about our traditions, culture, or history, and even less about our food. Today, there are less than 25,000 of us left here. We are the smallest dialect group in Singapore, and our culture is at risk of disappearing. So I think it's time I find out more about my heritage.
2、3个师傅都过世了啦，翻身了啦。
现在你要教其他人啊。
我们要教其他的人呢。
I'm going to taste the food of my ancestors and discover the stories behind each dish.
我可以说新加坡人大多数都不太认识这个巴素嘛。
I'm Jacqueline Chow, host, actress, and food lover. And this is the food that made me.
So when I first started my research about the Heng Hua heritage, I found out that most Heng Huas, when they arrived in Nanyang, they settled around this area, which is the Sungai Road area. My grandfather left the poverty in Poutine in search of a better life. When he was in Singapore, started out as a rickshaw puller, and he earned enough to open up his own tyre as well as bicycle shop. My earliest memory of Heng Hua food, well, it will have to be first day of Chinese New Year, where all of us will descend upon Grandma's house. Mother, Happy New Year!
Hey, hi.
来 ，OK， 恭喜发财，身体健康，最重要青春美丽。
And today, I'm helping my mom prepare a constant feature of our celebration, mee sua. It's a Heng Hua tradition to eat this thin, salty noodles on the first day of the new year. A classic bowl of Heng Hua mee sua is served along with 7 to 8 different condiments, like chicken, mushroom, pork belly, and seaweed.
Mother 啊，first day of Chinese New Year 我们每次吃米耍嘛。
对呀。
为什么啊？
就是过了年又长大了1岁啦。那么吃面线不是平平安安又过了1年。
原来是这样啊。
Hello，
嘟嘟 ，Happy New
Year！What are you doing？
New Year！ 我在剥那个鸡咯，他们讲要 shred it right？
Yeah，
那你嘞？
我切那个肉，我洗个手。
OK， 你去洗手先。
Uncle Chris is the only one in the family who still travels regularly to Poutine, our ancestral homeland in China.
These are Malaysian one, and well, this is
the China one.
China one, yeah. China one is thinner, and another name for this China mee sua they call ma zu mian.
Heng Hua mee sua originated during the Ming Dynasty over 500 years ago. The noodles are named after the sea goddess Ma Zu, whom seafaring Heng Hua people believed that Ma Zu protected their livelihoods from the perils of the sea. They dedicated this classic Heng Hua dish to her and named it Ma Zu mee sua.
What is inside the soup?
Pork bones, scallop. We have laser creme.
Yeah.
Then after that you have the chicken.
The Heng Hua people originated from landlocked Henan province and moved to Poutine, a coastal region in eastern China centuries ago. They found work as fishermen. But by the early 1900s, their lives and livelihoods were under threat by pirates from the sea and bandits who stole livestock and destroyed farms further inland.
Hello， 可以吃了，对，可以吃米刷了。
明朝的时候啦，有那些海盗啊来侵占我们莆田嘛。因为他是30晚到莆田。所以我们初一的时候，每个都没有庆祝嘛，因为每个30晚就跑了。那么那时明代的时候，那一个将军叫清绪官，他就来帮助把那些海盗赶走。年初5的时候才真正过年。
Today in China, the Heng Hua people celebrate both the first and fifth day of the Chinese New Year. This tradition is no longer practiced in Singapore, but eating mee sua still remains.
早期的话都是吃素的啦，这现在家庭比较富有，大家都会加一些肉啊，这个最重要。紫菜，紫菜最重要。这个紫菜呢，就代表富贵。
And it's not just the seaweed. The mee sua noodle itself represents longevity. The eggs signify fortune, mushrooms for reunion, and peanuts to symbolize settling and staying rooted to the ground. The delicacy abalone has also found its way into our family mee sua recipe. By the beginning of the 20th century, the Heng Hua people finally joined the ongoing Chinese diaspora, a mass immigration south, eventually settling in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. To find out the kind of food they brought with them to Singapore, I'm meeting Helen Kwan. Helen started a social media group a few years ago, specifically for Heng Huas in Singapore. She wanted to link the community together.
Hi, Helen.
Yeah, I'm Helen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Let's order the tahon. It's a very unique Heng Hua dish. I don't think it's available in any other dialect. Poutine is actually about 4,000 square kilometers, and that's about 6 times of Singapore.
6 times?
But there are only 3 million Heng Huas there. Compared to the whole of China, which is over 1 billion, it's a really small percentage. My grandfather and my grandma came to Singapore around 1930, together with a lot of other people on a Chinese junk that was carrying cargo. And the journey took about a month.
谢谢。
感谢。
感谢 is thank you lah.
That's right.
感谢。
Tahong is actually made of mee sua, noodles, and also bihun. And the history goes that, because Poutine is always near the coast, and so there were a lot of pirates, and the pirates would take everything, leaving them with nothing. People would take all these bits and pieces and cook it together as the tahon. I think Heng Huas are very resilient, very tenacious, really survivors.
The broth is very flavorful. And I noticed, right, it's always very basic, very simple. So very inexpensive ingredients as well.
We also have an expensive dish.
Oh, expensive?
Yeah,
Which
we
one?
actually have a red mushroom, which is very rare, and so therefore it's very expensive.
Did I hear that right? An expensive dish from a people who are living in extreme poverty in Putian? I definitely need to see this for myself.
I'm an actress and have hosted a variety of cooking shows through the years. Now, I don't cook much Heng Hua food, and I've come to realize how disconnected I am from my own roots, which is why I would like to find out more about the stories behind the Heng Hua dishes that I eat.
One of the foods many cultures have in common is confinement food, food meant to help mothers recover from childbirth. But for a people who lived in abject poverty in China, they have one of the most expensive confinement dishes. Lorena has just given birth. Her mother, Rita, is helping her with her confinement.
Congratulations. Thank you.
What's the baby's name?
Max.
Max.
So today, she is preparing red mushroom soup or Hong Gu Tang, a dish so rare and expensive that even Heng Huas like me don't know about it.
来 ，Auntie，这样哪一样是你讲在巴沙买不到的红菇？
这个是从莆田带回来的，
有什么特别？
你闻一下，味道不一样。
诶，不一样哎。这个算是什么？野的啊、
野生对，
野生 wild mushroom。
It can only be found in Wuishan, in Putian.
Only that particular mountain.
Correct.
Why is it so expensive?
It only bloom within the 15 days between the summer and the autumn, and there's only a few hours to collect before it starts to wither.
I noticed that they're all dried as well. Is there a reason why?
It have to be kept dry, if not it withered easily and it will spoil easily.
How expensive is it?
It is estimated about $350 Singapore dollars.
Huh? Wait, for how much? For this small amount?
For 1 kg.
For 1 kg.
Red mushroom grows only in the wild on Wuying Mountain in Fujian province and only in the exact same spot known as nest. The location of these nests is a closely guarded secret, passed down only within the family from generation to generation.
现在在莆田，他们就经常用这个红菇啦。有节日的时候才用。
没有啦，他们是应该作业，他们是吃，虽然他们那边便宜啊，他们也是不舍得吃嘛。我们新化老实讲啊，每一个都很节省。
The highly prized red mushroom is believed to be a tonic for the blood, seldom used and even then only sparingly, which is why very few Singaporean Heng Huas know about it. Even fewer know how to cook it, and it is virtually unheard of by other dialect groups.
好吃吗？
好吃耶！我吃一下那个红菇的这个味道是怎么样的？非常特别。So your mom was telling me that the two of you now are also learning all the different dishes.
Because I think nowadays, Heng Hua don't really cook at home.
Carry on the tradition. Because Heng Hua, there's very little Heng Hua people around in Singapore as well.
That's what I find is missing for me lah. Because my mom didn't really learn much, so she cooks one dish, which is the mee sua. So only recently I'm learning more about mee sua as well.
It's incredibly rare to find Heng Hua ingredients outside of Putian. Distinctive ingredients such as razor clams and seaweed have to be imported. Even Putian's bihun is unique, and it is famed for being as thin as a strand of hair. Their rarity is probably why there are very few authentic Heng Hua eateries in Singapore, and they fiercely guard the secret of where they get their ingredients from. Mingzong is the very first Heng Hua restaurant opened in Singapore in 1933. Its signature dish is lor mee.
Peter?
Hey, hi.
Peter Ho runs Mingzong restaurant with his brother Kelvin. Mingzong is near the Sungai Road area where most of the Heng Huas settled down. In fact, I had my very first bowl of lor mee here at Mingzong. The breakfast dish is claimed by both the Hokkien and Heng Hua people. Both versions, however, are completely different. The Hokkien's hawker dish is black, while the Heng Hua version is white.
My grandparents, when they came here, they decided to start a restaurant in Singapore. This is an old newspaper cutting of the restaurant. This is where it all started in 1933. This is our first chef. Also came to Singapore from Putian, China.
Right. Were they from the same village?
When he was young, yeah, from the same village. Hey, Jack, have a seat.
Okay.
The inspiration Peter's grandparents had to open a restaurant was fueled by fellow Heng Hua immigrants who were craving home-cooked Heng Hua food.
Rickshaw rider, they will just line their rickshaw out just outside the restaurant. They'll order a bowl of noodle and then they'll bring back to their rickshaw and then they'll gather there and then they will gossip about news back home.
Well, I guess it's a place to be able to have that information, right?
It's like a community center of sort.
Here is the lor mee.
Yeah,
the lor mee is here.
When you mention lor mee to people, people will think of that black
That
lor
is,
mee.
that is Hokkien type.
They blanch the noodle, then they add the pre-cooked ingredients on top of it, and then they pour the gravy over it.
Right.
Heng Hua lor mee consists of a simple but flavorful broth. Seafood, vegetables, and a small amount of pork is added to it.
What is the story behind the Heng Hua lor mee?
Noodles is their staple diet. Legend had it that during the Northern Song dynasty, there's this general that went to Putian to help in the Mulan water conservation project. They were plagued with a lot of natural disasters like flooding, things like that. So, but he was thinking of how to distribute the rice to the people.
In order to reduce the time it took to feed large numbers of workers, General Li Ye decided to process rice grains into noodles that could cook quickly with other ingredients and consumed just as quickly, saving time for the water project. The art of noodle making flourished, and the delicacy, the Heng Hua lor mee, also known as pa mee, was born.
You know, like last time they make those noodles, they have a bowl, then they press it.
Oh.
They're quite 打面,
You know, like Hong
Heng Hua
Kong
is
movies, right? They have do that kind one, right? So that's how they do it.
Yes.
Well, do you still do that now?
No. Now they use machine.
But do you think that if we modernize, we will lose this particular heritage?
They don't know what is the past, so they want something like new type of dishes or this.
Maybe what I'm thinking is we can have a few key signature dishes that will just remain as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
But no matter what, we still have to evolve with time. Like the ingredients itself, some of the ingredients that we used in the olden days, we can hardly use it anymore.
What do you mean you can hardly use it?
Last time you can use pig blood.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like now we cannot. So we have to evolve with time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have already lost so much of our old recipes and stories over the last 3 generations. We don't see many recipes for red mushrooms or Poutine clams anymore. What can we do to save our traditional Heng Hua food?
I'm a third-generation Heng Hua in Singapore. In this melting pot that I call home, I've come to realize that I'm losing touch with my culture and traditions. You know, many of us, we have forgotten or don't even know the stories behind old heritage dishes, which is why I'm here to find out from people in the know.
Alo's menu has quite a few classic Heng Hua dishes, one of which I've never heard before.
Hey, hello?
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, hello.
Hello. 哎，今天可以试试看这个荔枝肉和巴素吗？
可以啊。
可以看看你是怎么煮的吗？
可以啊。
好啊，来。
Shi Tianzang, or Alo as he prefers to be called, is a Heng Hua from Putian. 2 years ago, after moving to Singapore as a factory worker, Alo decided to start his own hawker stall selling Heng Hua food. This dish is better known as sweet and sour pork. The Heng Hua version, lychee pork, comes cooked with lychee fruit. Wait a minute. This doesn't have lychees.
这道菜没有用荔枝，这样为什么会叫做莆田荔枝肉呢？
形状是像荔枝啦，很多人还不了解啦，他以为荔枝肉就是有荔枝，这个就是唐代他一个妃子是我们莆田人，然后他因为思念家乡嘛。然后这个荔枝从莆田运过去那边也是要一段时间嘛。
对。
应该是一个厨师啦，研制这道菜，然后因此得名。
So, the traditional Heng Hua lychee pork actually doesn't have any lychees in it.
这就是什么？
猪的内脏、猪腰、猪肚、猪肝、猪心。
我的表弟就问他，哎，你知不知道这道菜？他也说，哎，没吃过哎。我可以说，新加坡人大多数都不太认识。
对。
对，这个巴素嘛。
It turns out that the Putian Basu pork dish was born out of poverty and frugality. During temple ceremonies and weddings, a pig was often slaughtered and offered to the gods, but the offal and innards never made it to the altar table. So not one to waste food, the Heng Hua people decided to fry it up with leftover vegetable trimmings.
你会不会觉得好像有点可惜呀？好像你不可以把这个地道的Heng Hua美食介绍给我们新加坡人这样？
可惜肯定是会有点可惜啦，不过这边的口味又跟莆田的不一样。
对。
不可能说多多少少也是要。变通一点嘛。
But when it comes to holding onto traditions, the Kiu Li Tong Temple has been playing a key role since it was built in 1936 to promote, protect, and preserve the customs of the Heng Hua people. 90% of its members are Heng Huas.
Now, I know that the Heng Hua population in Singapore is small, but I didn't realize how small it was because turns out my cousin attends this temple as well.
Hi, Jack.
Azang, hey.
Welcome to our temple. It's a very busy day today. We've got a big event tonight. Do you mind helping us in the kitchen? The aunties need your help.
I try lah.
Okay, come, let's go. Check. This is Auntie Kim Kiet. This is Auntie Sui Hong.
Hello, Auntie.
It's the 15th day of the Chinese New Year and the temple is holding its biggest celebration tonight. The aunties are busy preparing traditional Heng Hua offerings for 28 deities worshipped at the temple, as well as food for the devotees. I'm going to be making an old traditional recipe called Reconnects. Steamed glutinous rice is mixed with orange sugar and then tightly rolled inside a beancurd skin like a spring roll. Reconnects is a sweet, savory snack. It symbolizes the granting of all wishes.
2、3个师傅都过世了啦，完生了啦。
现在你要教其他人
我们要教其他的人呢。
要不然呢，真的会失传哦。
Okay, Jack, can you help me put this on the table? This goes here.
Okay, this one here is it? And
The mushroom goes here.
All right, this one.
And I'll help you with this.
Okay. So what's the significance of these dishes?
This means qi, qiu, bi, ying, which means whatever you wish for will be answered. Enjoy. Heng Hua bihun.
Actually, Alex, I didn't realize that you were so involved in the temple.
So I've been coming here since young, following our grandmother here.
Yeah. I mean, I remember coming with Mama last time when we were younger that time.
So it was a familiar environment, and I'm someone who likes old things. So coming here allowed me to learn more about the tradition, practice it. I met a lot of Heng Hua people, allowed me to understand my roots even more.
So it feels as though that anyone can just come here and have a bite.
Yeah, exactly. So our temple is actually the community center, if you will, for the Heng Huas. Although the neighbors have all moved out, scattered all over the island, but they still come back to rekindle old ties. So that is very meaningful.
Yeah.
And we provide familiar food. The main aim is also to draw them in, because food draws people, right?
That's true.
Yeah, and then the relationship will continue.
Throughout the night, seeing everyone and anyone enjoying the pots and pots of lor mee prepared made me think how wonderful to have a space together. In the past, the same dialect group would stay in the same kampong and social gatherings would happen organically. Now, with everyone dispersed all around Singapore, it does take an important festival and, of course, food for us all to come together.